Hello there, this is Mr. Dan. I just picked up my son from the school. Say hi, Asa, to the world.
Horsey!
Horsey! Whoa! Horsey. You saw Horsey? You saw Horsey? No? Oh. Oh dear. Sorry, gotta go grocery today. Yeah. We'll come back and see them. No problem. Anyways. Hey there, this is Mr. Dan. And my son. And today I want to talk about a rather touchy subject. So recently I've been coming across friends and people and church friends who've been sharing stories with a similar theme. So basically it goes something like this. Because of things that happen to them, or maybe even because of things they follow, or they or the manga or the anime they follow or whatnot, they're kicked out of church ministry. It almost sounds funny, as I say it, but it sucks. But it's I laugh only because of how ridiculous this sounds. Okay. And I don't think that's right. First of all, let me be clear. If you know me, for any length amount of time, you would know that I do have my pet peeves, and at times I do share about them with my students, and with the people that I work with, that I personally do not endorse a certain thing, such as, I'm really not into witchcraft. I am really not into witchcraft, which basically shuts the door on like 80% of popular manga and anime, that's out there. You mentioned, you name it, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Ghost in the Shell, things that I, pretty much all this Studio Ghibli films, things that I used to be super into and was a big fan of. I am no longer able to follow them because of the spiritual forces I sense, through watching those. Having said that, I'm also an outschool teacher, okay? And outschool is a very secular environment. In fact, I would say more or less of a liberal environment. Hey, it is their freedom. They get to do whatever they want. It is their platform. And as such, I, as a teacher, have to work with that. But there is a good point. Just because we don't accept or agree with or endorse some things, and we may have very, very good reasons to do it, and maybe within our right to do so, it doesn't mean we get to put other people on the spot and reject them and reject them, on the basis of. So I'll name an example. Pokemon is a big thing that little kids are into. A lot of my students were into it, are still into it. Okay. That's something that I've developed a weird, unusual spiritual allergy against. I'm telling you, not even Not even most Christians are like this. Very few Christians are like this. And same thing goes for me, anyways, with things like, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and all that stuff. Things, or even Star Wars. Things that I really was a huge fan of. Even just a couple of years ago, and I've been a fan of. Even though I've been a Christian for 23 years or whatnot, I was a big fan of all of them. Studio Ghibli films, Spirited Away, all that stuff. Okay, but now I've developed a very sensitive allergy, if you will, against that. Having said that, a lot of my students are into it. Okay, so the way I deal with it is that the way I see it is, I can disagree with my students. I may not have to accept what they believe. I may not have to accept, meaning like I may not have to agree with for myself what they believe, what they're into, but they deserve my respect to have that preference or belief without me hurting them. Okay, what I mean by hurting them is it hurting them? I mean, do I have the right to say, you know what, if pushed upon, I have the right to say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry to say, but I don't agree with the whole LGBTQ thing. This already would be offensive to a lot of you guys. I understand, but if pushed upon me, I would, if I'm cornered, I would actually say that, because that's who I am. I personally do not support, the whole LGBTQ movement. Okay, I personally believe that it's a sin. This may be offensive, but I do have the right to believe that. Now, here's the thing. I hope we could agree on this. What I think is not agreeable is if I have a student that walks in and says, and he, a boy, and a boy addressing himself, as a girl. I don't think it's right to just say, you know what, my class belong to Christians only, and we Christians don't accept this, don't accept XYZ, so you know what, you're out. Yet I keep on hearing stories like that happen. Okay, I don't think this is right. So the way I deal with it is, if somebody's really into, say, designing witches and whatnot, I and they make artworks about things that I have allergies with. I would critique their drawings and their artwork as an artwork. So I'm not going to celebrate, say, if it's someone who designs a new Harry Potter, character. I'm not going to be celebrating it like, oh my gosh, this magic is so cool. I love how, he turns from a frog into a turtle and into a dragon and into a human form. I'm not gonna be celebrating that. Okay. But at the same time, I will share from an artistic standpoint, what I think they did well, what I think they could have done better, and I would stick to the facts and critique their drawing based on that. I'm not going to be ripping them apart, especially in front of everybody, by telling them, you know what, Harry Potter's X, Y, and Z, and you should repent because if you don't, I can't accept you. I can't accept your drawing. I can't accept you. Get out of my class. I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I've heard stories like that, and it breaks my heart, and it honestly makes me angry that some people are like that. Or, dare I say, some Christian bodies do that. I'm going to stand up for you guys, and for those of you who got rejected because of things like this, because you claim to be gay, you claim to be lesbian, or you're into certain genres that I personally think is not healthy, but because of that you are ostracized from your church group. I want to speak up for you guys and say, you know what, that is wrong. That is so wrong. Yeah, so that's it. And yeah, I really want to make it clear to the world, because I do come across students or parents or coworkers or just church friends who had encounters like that. And I want to make it clear, to the people that I work with, this is where I stand. I may disagree with you, but I will not shame you in public just because I think what you do is, in my mind anyways, is not pleasing to God. I'm not going to shame you for it, okay? Or just because we have a difference in opinion on what is sanctified, what is holy, and what is not. I'm not going to shame you for it, okay? And you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. And God forgive us, if we do that, if we pass judgments like that, and if we not just pass judgment, but if we basically murder, commit relational murder by doing that, because you have a difference in opinion, because you have a chosen lifestyle. God forbid us, any of us Christians, believers of Yeshua, followers of Yeshua, to do that. So that's all I wanted to share. I really want to make this clear. I hope we could agree to disagree, and I hope we could find, I don't want to say common, well, I don't want to say a middle ground compromise, but I hope we could learn to respect each other, despite of our differences, and despite we can learn to to respect each other's preferences and boundaries, and disagree when necessary, but never in the context of committing relational murder. This is Mr. Dan. I hope this helped some of us out there. Maybe this offended a lot more of us, but I hope for a few of you, this helps you a little bit. Okay. Signing off. See ya.